Don't mind me, I've just been outside, so I've got a nice cold glass of lemonade. With pulp, of course. Okay, don't mind the mess in the background, just went shopping, haven't put everything away yet, you know, all the things. So today we're gonna do another makeup video. And because I've had a lot of people, like enough for me to actually consider it, of people who saw me do my makeup for prom and were like really impressed with that. And they're like, Megan, we need to see how you did it. So I'm gonna teach you how to do my prom makeup. Now, my prom makeup is, oh, I found all 3 of my rings inside my makeup kit thing. I got a new ring. It has the birthstones for me, Ellie, and our cats. Everybody was born in like May or June, so they're all on there. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So this might be a longer video, and I know makeup is not for everybody, so if you don't watch it, you know, no hard feelings. It's not for everybody, especially for any of the guys that watch my channel. Don't worry about it. But I am going to actually be teaching in this one, so let's get on into it. So I also have more higher end products and such. Substitute them how you want, and this is how makeup works for my face. And for my skin type, I have like truly normal skin, you know, it's not too dry, it's not too oily. So I do what works for me. I use some expired makeup. I've talked about that in other videos. So, you know, do what works for you, and if you want to follow along, let's do it. But I've had some people that actually genuinely want to learn, and I feel like I can explain things in a very simple way. I mean, heck, I have a teaching degree, so I ought to be able to. So for my face, for what I did for my prom makeup, I'm going to do it exactly the same. I have all the products here. I always use 2 primers, and that is because this one is a pore filling primer. So let's start with that. First thing I actually did was wash my hands, and then I just applied some Germ-X just to be safe because I am touching my skin. So I get a very small amount, and I put it right here where my pores are. And what this does is it fills in the pores. And sorry, I'm gonna be looking like here, not directly at you, because for the camera, if I'm looking at the camera or if I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking in a mirror. I put it right here, where I don't put it too much on my nose, but I put it right here just to make sure my pores get filled, and it kind of blurs them. Okay, and so this is the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer Base, and this is what it looks like. I'm about out of both of my primers, and then I go in with a hydrating primer for the rest of my face. Primer helps foundation stick and last longer, and this is the Tarte Base Tape Hydrating Primer. This is scented, so if you like unscented products, this one won't be for you. I do about 2 pumps, and then I rub it in my hands, and I just rub it into my face. And the important thing is that you let it dry down, because if you put foundation on a wet face or a wet primer, it's just gonna slick and slide around, and it's not going to do what you want it to. So I make sure that's all dry, and it's not dry yet, but it just takes a minute. Normally while I'm doing that, I get my foundation out and I shake it up or anything. So this is the shade that I used at prom. I lost my tan from the time that I bought this, because I bought this during the heat of the summer, you know, so I was really tan in the face. This is a little orange. It was hard in Walmart to actually tell what shade it was. So I went to Ulta and I got another shade. This one is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream, and it has SPF 30 in it. And this is light, mind you, this one right here is light 240W, okay? Very different, right? This one is fair 120N. So I'm gonna try for the first time fair 120N. I actually had to add some of my other foundation to this shade to lighten it up a little bit. So I might add some of this darker to get my actual skin tone, because the one that would have been my skin tone was out at Ulta, my luck. So now my face is completely dry, and this has a pump, and so most of the time what I do is I will pump it directly on my face, but because this is a new foundation, I'm going to put it directly on my hand. And I only did 3 pumps this time. Sometimes I do a little more, sometimes I do less. And I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna dip it in, and I'm just gonna kind of do dots so I can kind of get an idea of the shade. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. And normally I would go ahead and use the rest on my hand, but first I'm gonna take, I do not use sponges often at all. So this is called a stippling brush, and this is from Morphe. And I'm just going to kind of swirl. Okay, see, this looks very dramatic and light. So what I'm gonna do is get it all blended in. It looks like it's just a shade too light for me. Granted, my lighting's not the best right now because I have a bulb out and I just haven't fixed it yet. This might turn out looking right though, but just give me a second to blend all of this in. And I have more, so I can mix in another shade to kind of make it where it needs to be. Yeah, so you can see this is definitely too light. Makes me look a little bit like a ghost. That's okay though, because now I'm gonna take my dark shade and I'm gonna put like 2 pumps so you can see how different the 2 colors are. And I'm gonna take, I have a brush that I use for mixing. I don't use the actual brush, I use the end of the brush. So let me find that. This little brush has a little, and so I'm just gonna mix a little bit of that. And I'm going to just spackle the little bit of the darker shade. This is pointless. This is not doing anything right now. Or I'm gonna take that darker shade and just try to fix what is happening there. And then with anything left over, so I did enough pumps to do my neck. I don't necessarily need all that, so I do have a lot of extra on my hand right now. So let's go back in and let's blend again. Let's see what we can get. I'm not gonna blend down my neck because I'm not gonna waste foundation on blending all the way down my neck and my ears and everything, because I will end up just taking it off, you know? That's what I do when, sorry, I've also got a fever blister right now from stress, so I'm trying to be really careful. So hold on. Okay. Ooh, fever blister hurts. We're pretty much on the healing phase of it all, so hoping that's gonna be better. So let's see. Still got some redness right here. I do not love this lighting, but it's okay. I mean, this is better than what it looked like in the car. Mind you, I did do my prom makeup in the car, so, you know, I am very good at car makeup though. I will say that. I've done it for years. So there we go. This is kind of where we're at. It definitely matches now, mixing the 2 together. So that's good. I need, here we go. I have a paper towel right down here. Okay, I'll wipe the most of it off on my hand. Oh, it really wasn't a lot. It was just a small thin layer on my hand. Okay, didn't waste a lot. So then I just really make sure that I've got everything blended. The issue with using brushes is you can get really streaky. So I do swirl. A lot of people, like makeup artists, won't do that. But then I go in and I also tap. Now, I do have sponges too. I never use wet sponges though. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll just press in just a little bit if I feel like it looks a little rough, but that's just not necessary all the time. So after my foundation, I use concealer. Let me see, where did my concealer go? Where did my concealer, here's my concealer. I use the Tarte Shape Tape Contour Concealer because you can use it as a contour too if you want. And this is in the shade Fair. I am very pale, so you normally want your concealer to be like a shade lighter, but I don't know if this is necessarily lighter or more my shade. It normally blends out my shade. And this is, I'm not trying to lift my face or anything, so I'm not gonna, you can make different shapes with your concealer to lift your face. I just spackle it on right here. And then I put a little bit right here to bring some light to my face, a little bit on my chin, just in case I have any issues. And then I'll put some right here in my smile line just because I get a really bad smile line. What's wrong, honey? Who is crying? Who is crying? Okay. For my concealer, I use this tapered Morphe brush. Most of my brushes are Morphe. This is the Morphe M536. I think this is the best brush ever invented. I don't use it for my foundation just because I do. This is the Y6 from Morphe, or is this the M6? It's the M6, but this is an older version. This is a really old brush, so this is the Y6, but you can get this brush. It's the M6. You can get Morphe at Ulta, and it's a really good brush. But I like this one because it's more tapered, and I only use it for my concealer. Noodle! If he falls, can't do anything about that. So then I just take it and I blend. I really like to focus on this area right here because that's where I like my coverage. I like to make sure those pores are concealed. And this is just how I've been doing my makeup forever. So it's just what works for me. And that's how I do it. So you definitely don't have to do your makeup like I do, but if you just want to learn kind of different tips and tricks, you know, this is just how I do it. It works, but makeup is so personal, so do what works for you. And that blended out so amazingly. I don't ever, my nose starts running whenever I put makeup on. It's something about makeup that my nose starts running, and I'm not allergic to any of this. None of this stuff breaks my skin out. I've been using this makeup, these exact products, not this is new, but I've been using the concealer and the primer and all of that since those products since like 2016. And so I know that those don't break me out and my nose still runs. I think it's just the act of something being on my nose that makes it run. So, you know, I always realize I'm never gonna have makeup here at some point. I always try, and you'll see me kind of keep blotting at my nose, but it eventually just always falls off. That was good. That was good. All right. After my concealer, I move on to my powders. Now, if you're going to use a cream, I do have a cream blush. So let me show you. I don't use it because I really am not a big blush fan. I bought it because I thought I wanted to get into cream blush. And you know, I didn't like it. So it's just a cream, and you can dip your brush or your finger into it and tap it on. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna use any cream products, make sure you use all of your creams, thank you, before you put powder on. There are some that can go on top of powder, but it just doesn't, look the best. Ow. Sitting on this floor in shorts is not comfortable. I don't know why. Like, I'm getting cold and I've got the heebie-jeebies on my legs. Heebie-jeebies. I got the little cold bumps, whatever they are. So, since I move on to powder, where's my powder? I like to use a translucent powder, and I use it's a setting powder. It's a loose setting powder. So there's two ways you can get your powders. You can get it as a pressed powder, which means it's pressed into a compact, or you can get it completely loose where all that you're seeing is loose powder. I prefer loose because then I can pack it in. I know exactly how much I'm getting, and I just prefer it. Now, translucent powder, it's in the name. It's translucent. All it's going to do is set your face. It's going to make you more matte. It's going to keep your makeup in place, but you're not going to see a color. So it does have a little bit of color to it, okay? But once it gets to your face, my goodness, do y'all want to calm down? Once it gets into your face, it is blended in. It's not going to change your face. You don't have to worry about getting a shade. Match translucent setting powder has been the lifesaver for my makeup. And so this brush is so old that you can barely see the thing on it anymore. This is just an e.l.f. powder brush, and I dip in and I tap a little bit of excess off, and then I just start packing it on. So you can already see from back here, I feel like you can kind of tell that this side isn't set. You can definitely see that this side is drier than this side, which is fine. Dry is not always bad. It's more, in the makeup community, it's set as matte, you know. you've either got matte or dewy. And so I'm just gonna go over everywhere I put product. And this powder is great. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder in the shade Translucent, and I love it. And so at this point, I look a little crazy, right? I look like my face is kind of one color. I got some brightness here, but like, what is going on, you know? So now I'm going to add in some more color. So I'm actually gonna take a bronzer now. So the bronzer I use is in a holiday collection palette, so they don't have this anymore. So I'm gonna show you what the actual packaging looks like. So this is the Hoola bronzer. Wait, this is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. Hoola is the shade because they have other shades. And this is the giant edition. Normally they sell it in a smaller, like a fraction of the size of this, but I haven't even opened this yet, so you know, it's fine. But I have it in a holiday packet, and so I'm trying to use up, see, I've hit pan. It's the same thing. You can see right here, Benefit, and then it says Hoola right there. So that's the Hoola bronzer. And bronzer is my saving grace for makeup. I go very heavy-handed with it because I don't use contour. And so I just put it on this Morphe R14 brush. I don't know if they still have this one, but it's a very fluffy brush. And I take it on my cheeks. And so I just do swirling motions. I should probably be more gentle than I am. And just pack it on there. And the great thing about the Hoola bronzer is if you go too heavy-handed, you can put a translucent setting powder back over it and it will blend out. I also take it on my forehead, so I go right here. Some people will tell you to do the 3 motion, so you go 1, 2, 3. You make a 3 on your face. And I do that too, but I don't swipe it like a 3 just because I'm very comfortable with the way I do my makeup. You know, I don't need that little tip anymore to get the angles right. I've kind of got how I do it. I go into my hairline, so when I have makeup on, a lot of times I get makeup in my hairline, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. I also make sure to get right here. And I like I said, I really like to go heavy-handed. Now, important, I do not have makeup on my neck right now. I'm still gonna do my jawline. And so I just gently, I do not go heavy-handed on my jaw, ever. Because that can look like a really abrupt line. I just do it to connect everything, and then a lot of times I will go in with my powder brush and just diffuse that. Then with my last dip, I take my brush and I do this because I don't need a nose contour. I like the way my nose looks, but I like to have some bronzer on my nose, so I just run it down my nose real quick, and then I go over my lips really quickly. Like that, and then I'll do some more because I'm crazy. I love bronzer. And that just brings some light back to my face. You can definitely see it right there. I know the lighting's kind of crazy, especially with this one. Ooh, that's better. What if I do that? Ooh, okay. Y'all will be able to get a look at better lighting towards the end. This is just for the purposes of seeing the motion and all of that, not necessarily how the makeup's gonna turn out, you know? Now, what do I do after bronzer? I do blush. Now, I'm not a heavy-handed blush person at all. At all. I do not love blush, but I put it on to have a little bit of color there, but I don't go heavy-handed. So this is the Kylie Cosmetics Pressed Powder Blush in the shade We're Going Shopping. This is it. Very pink. It is more dull, and I put just a little bit on this Morphe E4 brush, and I just kind of do that. Really light pressing, and I even tap excess off, so I really am not getting a whole lot. I did add more on prom night than I normally would, but I ended up diffusing it out with my bronzer brush. Yes, like I always do. And that's just to make sure there are no harsh edges. And so you can kind of see it. I like it just for a little bit of color. It just kind of blends everything together really nicely. And that's really the only reason why I wear it. I don't wear it because I feel like I need rosy pinkness. So then for prom makeup, I did use a highlighter. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but for prom I did. And so this is the BH Cosmetics Belgian Waffle 6-color baked bronzer and highlighter palette. It has bronzers in it as well. I do not like these shades for bronzers. I feel like they don't blend well enough. So I'll use them for eyeshadows because they're very neutral colors and they blend well enough for an eyeshadow. These are highlighters. This is like straight glitter reflective. And so I don't use this shade unless I use it for eyeshadow, but these two I do. So let me get my highlighter brush. This is what I use for highlighter. This is not a good highlighter brush, but this is the only thing I have. And this is the Morphe Y11. And so I'm just going to dip into the shade Powdered Sugar and Syrup, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to pinch my brush. And I'm just very lightly going to dust that right there. And you can kind of see the reflect. Do the same thing on the other side. A little bit on the nose and the Cupid's bow. You all will be able to see the finished look, but again, this is just kind of for tutorial purposes of how to make it happen. Next time I'm going to use better lighting, but I really wanted to film this video and play in makeup for, let's say, how would I say this? Self-care purposes, to keep my mental sanity going today. I was a little bored. It's nighttime. I can't be out with the animals right now and really do a whole lot because they're ready to lay down. And I was like, yeah, let's do some makeup. So now we move on to eyeshadow. And for eyeshadow, I am going to start with the Morphe 35C Everyday Chic palette. It is a big girl of a palette. And I lost the little pamphlet that has the names. So I'm going to go in with this light brown shade right here to start. And I have a bunch of eyeshadow brushes. I grab different ones every single time, okay? So this time I'm grabbing the Morphe M518. This is a great fluffy brush. And I'm going to go in to that light shade. And I'm just going to start in my crease. Now, if you have hooded eyes, this style won't work for you. I do not know how to teach for hooded eyes. I don't have hooded eyes, so I can't exactly practice. So I'm gonna close my eye and I know where that natural crease is. You know, I've just done my makeup enough that I know where to go with my eyes closed. And I'm just gonna create that and do little rainbow shapes and making sure to come to this outer corner, but not directly in there, but just to kind of get there so we have shadows to blend into when we go darker. And then I'll start doing some little circular motions. And the last step I'll do is go back here, but then I'll start to blend up a little bit. But I want it to be like lightly, yeah. I'm looking at the mirror above me. Just lightly blend it up. So I'll repeat that on the other eye. This is my worst eye to put eyeshadow on. This eye's harder for me to do. They always look different. And that does hurt me. And then I'm going to start here and go up. So now that I've got that shade on, I'm going to find a more thickly packed brush. This exact one. This is my favorite one. You can see it has the dark shade on it. That tells me I used it. This is a Morphe R39 brush. Morphe has great brushes. That's why I use them. So I'm going to dust it off just in case it has any glitter or anything on it, you know. And I'm going to go into a different palette for this one. This is the Morphe... What is this? This is the Morphe 35F Fall Into Frost palette. Now, it is mostly glitters or shimmers. These are all shimmers. The bottom row is mattes. So I'm going to go in with this shade right here, and then I'll also grab some of this and this. Just going in and playing in the deepest browns, honestly, is what I'm doing. And this is more tapered. So when I'm going in on the lower part of that crease and right here on the outside. So you'll see how I'm gonna just, you see how it's immediately darker? It's really pigmented. And that's what you want in a dark shadow, you know? And it's all about blending. You don't want anything to be packed on too much. I feel like I'm trying to go like too light-handed and careful, but can't do that. So you see how I've now kind of created this rounded shape? I'm gonna pack really heavy on here and it'll look crazy, but I promise you, it'll work. And then sometimes I like to drag in just a little bit more, which it's gonna get kind of covered up with shimmer anyway, so that's not really a problem. But yeah, eyes definitely always take the most time for me. And you definitely don't have to use the products that I use to replicate this. You can use any eyeshadow palettes as long as you have a light and a dark brown. I call the lighter brown that I use the transition shade. And then this is the crease and the darker outer corner shade. Okay, so I've got that. Yeah, I've got that where I like it. Actually, I'm gonna take my finger now and I'm just gonna add some right here just to get it a little more that I couldn't with my shadow, with my brush, because my brush didn't want to apply for some reason. And I'm gonna replicate the thing on the same eye. I will never do one eye and then do the other, because if I make a mistake on one eye, you do the same thing on the other. So they look as similar as humanly possible. I know what you're thinking. How do you do that with your eye open? Lots of practice. I'm also not afraid to get myself in the eye. It doesn't really faze me anymore. I have to get a little rougher with this eye because this eye has a great indentation for that outer corner. This one just does not. And a lot of what I'm doing right now is second nature. Like this base for this dark brown eye is an eyeshadow I wore all the time for drill team. So all of this is very second hand, kind of. I don't even really have to think about what I'm doing. I just kind of, it's muscle memory at this point. So then I'm gonna take, that's not the right one. That's not the right brush. I'm gonna take back that brown brush and I'm gonna go back into that lighter brown and just reiterate that brown here at the top and kind of blend those edges. This eye will always, sorry, I've got a notification. This eye will always look worse than this one. Oh, and see, I already forgot a step. I need to, add that little bit of brown. And here's the thing. I am not the best at eyeshadow. My sister's actually much better than me at it. This can look rough for all I care because I'm gonna cover it up with glitter. And that's what we're doing next. So first I'm gonna go into the 35F and I'm gonna use this right here. It's gonna look a little rough. This is a shimmer. It's an older palette, so the shimmers aren't as prominent anymore. I mean, they definitely still are, but not as good as they could be, you know? And I'm just going over on the lid with my finger. I do not like putting concealer on my eye and then packing in. It just, so much extra work. I normally do not use my right hand or my left hand for this. I normally use my right hand. That's why I'm having so much trouble. I need to stop talking for a sec. Ow, my favorite blister hurts. Okay, I'm also pack on. Okay, so now that we look a little bit crazy, I'm going to go back in with that dark brown brush that I was using, if I can find it. Will I pick up just a random brush? Maybe. And I am just going to go back in the circle that I did and kind of, I need it to come in just a little bit more. And then I know what you're gonna think, you're just covering it up, but it's for the blend purposes because you want it to look very blended together. And so, please tell me I did not just mess this eye up. And I'm thinking now, because I can't see very well, it was definitely a lot darker, my eyeshadow on prom night. But that's just because I had different lighting and I could see a lot better. So you can definitely still see the shimmers there. But to kick up the shimmer even more, now I'm going to wipe my finger off. And I'm going to go back into that 35C Morphe palette. And I'm going to grab a pressed glitter. So you see this pink is a pressed glitter, but so is this one up here. And pressed glitters are a little bit different. Here you can see it now. It's really gold. And I'm just gonna tap it on there. I'm not gonna go crazy and swipe. I am just tapping because it's a glitter. You can't really swipe glitter. You have to pack glitter. And there we go. And for good measure, I'm going to swipe over one more time for good measure. Now I'm gonna do my inner corner really quickly. Actually, real quick, I'm gonna just brush my eyebrows to the side. That's how I do it. I don't touch them. Actually, before I do my inner corner, I'm gonna do my under eye. So I'm gonna go into that same dark shade that I did for my outer corner. And this is a brush that I got from TJ Maxx. It says it's the Danielle brush. Have no idea, but it's a really, really thickly packed brush. And I'm just going to now go on the underneath of my eye and just smudge back and forth. I went a little low. That's okay. You can end up blending it out. It'll be fine. It's not a big deal. That burnt a little bit. See, I went a little bit low. This is not my good eye. I'm gonna look in the, no, I have to look right here. I'm going too low. I feel like that looks awful. Ow. And so then I'm just gonna try to replicate that over here. And now I know what you're thinking. Coon eyes, Megan. Coon eyes. A little bit. I'm just going to take a fluffy blending brush and just kind of run that over these. You still want the under eyes to connect to the, outer corner. So don't want them too crazy. And then just in case I have any fallout shadow, I'm going to take my fluffy brush and just sweep it away. I don't normally, but some eyeshadow palettes do that. Now for my inner corner. I like my inner corner to shine, especially when I'm doing a more glamorous look. So that little blending brush that I used to mix those foundation shades, it's really, really, really tiny. And it's the Morphe M250-1. Don't know what that means. And there is a really, really, really white shimmery shade right over here. And so I'm just going to dip in. Then I'm going to go right here in my inner corner. I'll just put that there. I would not put this white shade on my eyelid. I've done it before. It didn't look good. So it's definitely an inner corner shade. There we go. She's looking good. All right. Now, I was going to try something new, but I'm not going to. I'm going to show you the setting spray I use next to melt everything together and set myself in place. Actually, I'm going to use the new one because I'm just going to wipe this off, and this is my good stuff, my expensive stuff. So this is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Makeup Setting Spray, the long-lasting. It has up to 16-hour wear. You just spray some on you, and it works its magic. Now, the new setting spray I'm going to try, setting spray should not really impact your makeup, and we're going to find out if that's true right here. The setting spray is just going to melt everything together and make it look really nice. So right here, I have a new one that I got as a little gift for buying from NYX at Ulta. So they gave me a gift at checkout. It is the NYX Matte Finish Makeup Setting Spray, up to 16 hours. Now, I've never used this, so let's see what the spray is like. Smells the same as that one. I spray a lot. I don't notice a difference yet. It's still, I need to add a little more. I don't feel as wet over here. Okay. And I do the same thing with this. So these are just different products and I'm just testing, but this is what I use. It melts it all together. It makes my skin look really fresh, not dry. They feel the same. This might do something different. I don't know. I just kind of want to try it. But this is normally what I use. Now we move on to mascara. I use the Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara. It's really good. This one is on its last life. Definitely need to get a new one. Or see it because... Is that really necessary? Move, sir. Thank you. And I really make sure to get over here, and then I come down on my lower lashes and just try to be as careful as possible. Like I said, this mascara is on its last life. This is my better mascara eye. It's weird, my I have one good eyeshadow eye and then one good mascara eye. And they're different eyes too. Okay. I try to go for wispy, that's still kind of spider lashy, but it's wispy lashes, kind of. I don't use false lashes. I don't like them. They feel weird on my eyes. So see, this is a little bit weird, so I'm gonna get this little excess of this. Mascara is like tar. And I'm just gonna blend that back over. Okay, good. That's my mascara. My face feels really nice. Now I'm going to do the lip combo. That's what I've got lots of questions about. I'm gonna hope and pray I'm doing the right one. I am, I promise. I have a lot of liquid lipsticks, so, you know, I just grab whatever I can. Okay, I'm using the Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Bare. I need to sharpen it. I'm not going to right now though. And I just kind of trace my lips. I'm not gonna go over my fever blister, but then I do color in my lips. Okay. I know this is like the worst thing to do when you have a fever blister. I'm gonna cry. There you are. I'm gonna use the matching Kylie Cosmetics Velvet Liquid Lipstick in the shade Bare. It's a liquid lip. And so I'm just gonna... And then I'm gonna mash that together. But then I'm also gonna take the Kylie Cosmetics matte liquid lipstick in the shade Dolce K, and I'm gonna tap just a little tiny bit of the brown there to darken that up. And I know what you're thinking. That looks more dry than what your lips were. You are correct, because this is what makes it. This is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss. It has hyaluronic acid in it, which makes it glossy and bring moisture to the skin. Now here's the key. Don't apply it like this, because it's going to go crazy. Put it on your hand. And then rub your finger in it a little bit. And just tap it on there or smooth it on there, however you like. And that is it. Oh, I got something in my teeth, of course. And I think that is it for what my prom makeup looked like. Was it a lot? Yeah, a lot of makeup on my face. I'm used to it though. Did it all the time. And I love me some glam makeup. So let's go into the light and we can see how badly I messed this up or if it looks about right. So obviously we've got a color difference. You know, not my perfect shade. Bring it down to the neck and it's fine. Okay. Here we are. Obviously my eyes are not as dark as they were on prom night. That's okay. I just did them a little bit darker than normal, but that's fine. But this is where I'm at today. I've still got that in my tooth. That's sad. I'm gonna need to go get floss for that. But my lips are right. Everything else is right. So y'all, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. If you don't enjoy makeup, you definitely don't have to watch, but I am going to start posting, not a whole lot, but every now and then some makeup videos and maybe do some lives with makeup while I talk to y'all, because I enjoy makeup so much. I do see the color difference. I'm going to have to get a shade that works for me, or I just got to drag it down my neck, you know, because it matches my arms pretty well. But yeah, this is it. This is the look. And I hope y'all enjoyed. And I'll catch y'all next time with another video. Bye, friends.